Why do you use weed?
Two reasons. One, I tend to be a pretty serious thinker in my own head. And I think about work and grand problems of the universe all the time. Weed makes me sufficiently stupid and interrupts my train of thought enough. And a lot of the generative nonsense that comes out of the GPT and the the idea bubble machine in your brain.
Right. You've seen our Slack.
Yeah, sure. That's what that is.
Yeah.
That comes up with so much nonsense that I can regress to not taking it so seriously. And I can relax at some kind of deeper level of the brain's going to do this. The brain's all junk at this point, which is interesting. Also, weed makes me see the world in a really quirky way. And it's kind of like being immersed into like a Lord of the Rings universe where I'm like, whoa, everything's kind of tripped out. And it's just fun. And so that's what I do with weed. I don't understand how people work on weed. Sometimes I'll have really good ideas I quickly write down and later inspect, and they're either nonsense or like, oh, fuck, that really was a good idea. But like when people are like, yeah, man, like I work high, I'm like, what the fuck?
Creative and blah, blah.
The way I go about doing weed is also a bit strange. I'm absolutely uninterested ever in being a little bit high. I want to either go to the fucking moon or be stone sober. That's it. So if you ever catch me high, and a few people, I got high last weekend and walked around Ann Arbor, Michigan with my wife. I was trying to show her like, hey, I went to undergrad here and here's all the cool stuff. Cause the undergrads are back first week. And I just got like Dr. Mike like 8 times in a row. And it was totally cool, but also like I was high as fuck. So like people start talking to me and I'm like, I'm Dr. Mike. I'm on the internet for something. People seem friendly. That's nice.
Yeah.
And then at first, when it first started happening to me, like, a year ago, I was like, holy shit. Nowadays I'm like cool, but it's also like,
well, on weed, everything can be a little bit scary, especially attention from other people.
And I love that because normally I'm like, things don't faze me much anymore. I'm 40 years old. I've seen a lot of crazy shit. So like, I just don't get that like, whoa, but on weed I do. So it's fun. I'm not defending marijuana as an ethical practice or something like that. I think the vast majority of media you'll see on marijuana is intentionally sensationalistic and tries to wildly exacerbate its negatives. It's just the nature of media in general. And I always think of like, there's like some New York Times writer that's writing the expose on THC
at all times
while having a scotch. And you're like, all right, because alcohol doesn't cause 50% of people to become violent or anything, or the rest die.
Talking about reparations that are needed from an iPhone that was used with fucking slave labor out of China.
Figure that one out.
So an interesting insight that I learned last year about weed in particular, one of the reasons that I think it is quite contentious in a way that alcohol isn't, is that alcohol has very reliable effects across cohorts on how you feel. You drunk, I have a pretty good understanding of what you drunk feels like because of what I've felt like when I'm drunk.
Okay.
Weed is not the same. You speak to 10 people, you'll have 10 different, makes me horny, it makes me tired, I want to get up and do the whatever. Yeah, all of them.
Makes me all those, really.
All of them. But, for me, I just don't really enjoy it. And then every person that loves weed goes, no, man, you need a sativa hybrid with
fucking hippies.
A blah, blah. You've got to get it's because, are you doing it? Are you trying it with concentrate? Are you doing it? No, you got to do shatter. And I'm like, bro, look, I'm one of those people for whom, I don't know, maybe I'll try it again at some point in the future and see if it works for me or something. But yeah, it's not reliable across the board, the effect it has on people. Whereas I think alcohol, even if people's behavior is very different, some person gets angry, some person gets sad, some person gets whatever, I think the way that they feel.
There's only a few archetypes, really.
Correct. For the most part is that, whereas for weed, there's like, 1,000.
Sure. And I'm like, people, nowadays that I've, largely from your help, have gotten more popular. Some fraction of people seem to assume that anything you do and talk about is something you espouse and recommend. And like, I do not espouse marijuana consumption. If it's some shit that fits in your life, the only thing I have to say about it is take it earlier in the day so it doesn't interfere with your sleep. Most people will be like, but I use it to sleep. And then it's actually lower quality sleep, which might be a fine
trade-off. You're not sleeping, you're sedated.
But exactly, something like that. The Michael Jackson method. I'm kidding. Too soon? Oh, I was referring to his use on himself.
Right.
Mixed metaphors. Should I have brought up Bill Cosby? Too soon? Also too much? I call him William. We're on first name basis.
Okay.
I don't advocate for people to do weed. So I say, just don't let it interfere with your sleep, and make sure you finish all your work and be responsible about it. I only ever do weed on times I have off. I'm finished all my work. If I haven't finished my work for the day or for the week, oh, I'm not taking any drugs because I still have to finish my work. It's a demon that will haunt me and I will have a real bad time.
That open loop is fucking...
Oh, hell no. So as soon as I put everything away, I finish up. Weed, totally cool. Enjoy. And the other thing I would say is notice how it's affecting you. And if it's something that turns into something that like you don't like, but you still do, fucking stop doing it. There'll be a few day period if you do some serious weed where you kind of want to do it again. I wouldn't even say it's like a psychological addiction. It's not physical. It's not even, it's barely an addiction. It's kind of like, oh, should I do weed again? You give it a couple days. You're going to feel a little bit more clear headed, feel right as rain. And the next time you want to do weed, you can do weed. No problem. I do weed like a few times a week, usually almost always on the weekend.
What's your delivery mechanism?
Edibles exclusively.
Okay. And what's your dose?
So my brain adapts rapidly to weed. So if I do it for 2 or 3 days in a row, I need to up the dose to get the same effect. Because again, I'm only trying to get super fucked up. Anywhere between 20 and 80 milligrams.
Fuck me.
Yeah. Yeah. But remember, you're like, oh my God, how can you still like handle yourself? I can't. That's the whole point. Yeah. I mean, I can.
The only
like,
time
I still know not to shit in the street, but barely.
The only time I ever took more than 10 milligrams of edibles was when I was traveling in Hawaii and I went on a date with some chick and she was like super hot or lovely or whatever. But I just didn't know what was going to happen when I went to 20 milligrams from 10. And 10 was like...
Do before the date?
Yeah.
Oh, Chris,
Just
you're
me.
my man.
Just me.
Fun. Just you. Did she know or no?
No.
Oh my God.
So,
She's like, why are you nervous? You're like, why are you in my head talking to me? She's like, what?
The opposite happened, which was about halfway through the meal that we were having, my hearing completely stopped. My hearing just stopped working. And I was like, she was there. And
that's when I realized listening to the woman on a date doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it went great.
It was one and the same. Yeah, exactly. It was just like it always is. And I was like, fuck, like I can't hear. And I couldn't hold on to any thoughts, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And then I heard Queen's We Are the Champions playing.
Dope. That'll play in your head.
And I thought,
full on schizophrenia.
That's interesting. Queen's We Are the Champions is playing. And then she finished speaking, and I think I said something that presumably...
But you don't remember what you said. Because as soon as it left your mouth, you had no idea.
Done. Away.
That's scary.
Then Queen's We Are the Champions played again. And for the next 2 hours, all I could hear was Queen's We Are the Champions. I couldn't hear anything else. So I exited the date, took myself into bed and laid and listened to Queen's We Are the Champions for another hour and a half. And
was it pleasant? Listening.
Kind of, I guess, but also kind of a bit like, what the fuck is going on?
Were you attributing an anxiety emotion to that process of being...
To a bit, yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
A little.
That's like my superpower is I'll be completely fucked up and useless to the world, but I don't give a shit.
Totally chill.
Because like all of my work has been done. I can flip off having to be Dr. Mike, and now I'm just like, Mike, I guess.
Potato.
I mean, if you ever talk to me and you catch me high, almost certainly you'll be like, his eyes just look more red. He's really kind of the same, but it's not the same on the inside.
Over the span of about a year, I tried pretty much every greens drink that I could find, trying to work out which one was best. And I came across AG1 and have stuck with it for over 3 years because it is the best. It's the most comprehensive, it's the most highly tested, and the most rigorously formulated. Since 2010, they've updated the recipe 52 times in the pursuit of making the best foundational nutrition supplement possible through high-quality ingredients and rigorous standards. They genuinely care about holistic health, which is why I've got my mum to take it, and my dad to take it, and tons of my friends to take it too. And if I found something better, I would switch, but I haven't, which is why I still use it. Best of all, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee, so you can buy it and try it, and if you don't like it for any reason, they'll give you your money back, so you don't need to worry. If you want to replace your multivitamin and more, start with AG1. Right now, you can get a year's free supply, vitamin D3 and K2, plus 5 free AG1 travel packs, and that 90-day money-back guarantee by going to the link in the description below, or heading to drinkag1.com/modernwisdom. That's drinkag1.com/modernwisdom. If you enjoyed that clip with Mike, you will love the full-length podcast in all of his big-headed, bald glory right here. Come on. Press it.